All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this session. I'm so sorry about the short the delay that we had. Okay, something um, really came up, and I didn't have any choice other than to just. But thank God we are finally here, right? Okay, so we are going to start up immediately, and we just run quickly. I'll make it as fast as possible, okay, so that we can wrap up in the next few minutes. It's supposed to be an hour session, okay, so let's get it started and run as fast as we can. I'm so sorry, I apologize. This is not going to happen again. I really didn't, it was something I couldn't handle, okay. There was nothing I could do about it, so I had to pause the class. So I'm so sorry. All right, so we are starting right away. Assessment and its impact on learner mental health, right? That's what we are discussing today. And um, I want us to know that assessment is very important. I'm not saying assessment is not important. That's not the aim of this training. Assessment is very key. But then, assessment is not all there is when it comes to learning. All right? It can have effect on the mental health of your children. Okay? So that is why you need to be very careful. Okay? You need to be very careful when setting your assessment. In fact, assessment is so key that you have to be very mindful of it. I'm going to explain as we progress. Okay, so we are looking at assessment and its impact on the learner. I'm not going to go into details of explaining what assessment is and who a learner is, because we all know that, right? So that's not the aim of this. That's not the focus of this training. It's not the focus of this live webinar. All right, so I want us to just focus on the main thing, which is the impact, the assessment, and the impact on learner mental health as a whole, like the topic, right? I don't want us to break it into pieces, because we all know what assessment is already. So we just take it from there, okay? So as teachers, I want us to understand the fact that assessment is not the final verdict. Is not. Assessment is you can view assessment as a compass. All right? Assessment is a compass that guides learning. It shows the direction to learning. All right? It is not, assessment is not all there is about children's academics. Okay, so before I state the objectives of this training, I want us to answer this question. You can drop your comments in the comment section. You can drop it in the comment section, or you can you can drop it in the comment section, because you can't talk to me. This is a YouTube live, so you can drop it in the comment section, the answer to this question. So you have a child in your class who is struggling with, or you have a child in your class who has been doing well from the onset. The child does well whenever you give tests. They do well. They always have great grades. They make good marks. And then suddenly in this particular test, the child did not do well. All right, they just made some low score, and before you know what was happening, the child began to withdraw from you, avoid eye contact. When you want to look at them, you just take out their face and all of that, and before you know it, complain of headaches and all of those things now crept in. If you have a child under your care like that, what would you do? What would be your reaction? I would I would appreciate if we can drop our comments in the comment section. All right, drop your response in the comment section. So this is what would usually happen with teachers. Okay, you have a child that is in the class, and the child is always doing well and all of that, and then all of a sudden something happened and the child failed their test, and or maybe they made a very low grade. Just, what nonsense is this? Why did you not do well? And all of those, and all of that. You used to score very high grade. What happened today? You failed. You did not do well. Why is it that you got 20 instead of 100 or instead of 50? What happened to you? Are you okay? You can even begin to use, what's it called now? Insultive words that will now deter the personality of that child. Remember that for children, assessment is everything for them. It is not everything for you. For them, because the learning is their learning, not your learning. The assessment is everything for them. So what am I saying in essence? What I'm saying is that for children, assessment is everything about their personality. Okay? If they fail, they feel, if they make 0 or less grade, they feel that they have failed. Okay? They feel they have succeeded, or they are champions or superheroes if their grade is high. Do you understand? So that is why assessment is so important to them. It is everything about their personality. Assessment for children is their personality. So you have to understand that from their point of view. So the way you handle the assessment, the how, the what, the why, the when, I'm going to explain this as we continue, is very important. Okay? It's very important. If you don't handle it well, you are going to end up having children that will build so much negative skills. You are going to end up having children that we are doing well at some point, and then all of a sudden they began to fail, because you don't understand the when, the how, the why, and the where. There should be time. You should know even the formative assessment, that it's an ongoing type of assessment which we do every day, like rather when we are taking, as the lessons are going on, right? Even the formative assessment, that is an ongoing one, has time. It should be time bound. It shouldn't be something you just give it. No, you should know when. That is why teachers need to be proactive. Okay? You need to be the smart one. Know when to give it. Know when not to give it. Know how. Know what words to use. All right? At what point? These are some of the things that matter. Okay? Do you understand? So, I want us to understand that this is very important for children. So when you have a scenario in your class where your child was doing well, and then in a particular test they had a very low score, what are you supposed to do? The first point of call is not to scold them, it's not to call them names, it's not to abuse them, it's not to make them feel less of themselves. You have to first establish a relationship. That's what I will tell teachers. You call your child and ask your child, what happened? Before what happened, establish a contact. Come, how are you doing today? Are you feeling okay? I noticed that you're withdrawn today. Is everything all right with you? Before you start talking of their low grade. Because, of course, when that happens, remember I said the child will begin to avoid you. Eye contact will be withdrawn. Okay, they'll be avoiding you, maybe even in the class or anywhere. They'll just avoid you. They don't want to have anything to do with you. They just, and then before you know it, they'll start to complain of headaches and every other small, complaints that they will come with. They'll begin to withdraw. So now, what are you supposed to do as a teacher? When you call them, don't start with, why did you fail your test today? Why did you not do well? No, don't start that way. Do you know what will happen? When you start that way, you will trigger something in the child. The child may want to talk, but because of the way you approached him, he may not want to say, he may talk somehow, but may not really state exactly what is wrong. So there should be a leveled ground for communication first. Do you understand? There should be a leveled ground for communication. You have to establish that communication gap here first before you begin to say anything. Are you okay today? What happened? You look sad. Depending on, what you're seeing, and let the child talk to you. So by the time the child is done explaining why they are not happy or they are sad, maybe in the process of even telling you, they will now tell you, that's why I did not do well in the test, that is why I made low score, and all of that. In fact, it's possible to get a whole lot of information as a result of that communication. Remember, assessment and academics and emotion work together. They work together. They are interrelated. Do you understand? They are interrelated. The academics and the emotion are related. If somebody fails their test, that's academics, they'll begin to feel sad. That's emotion. So that is why you need to be very careful when dealing with children, as long as assessment is concerned. So call them, have a ground for communication first. What happened to you, Joy? Are you okay? Smile, all right? And let the child explain to you. You feel headache? You are not feeling okay? Are you sick? And all of that. Have you eaten? Because it might be food. They might be hungry. You never can tell, right? So this is what you do first before you begin to do any other thing. Then let the child talk to you before you now, begin to ask them questions about their what, questions about the test that they failed. Okay, so don't start with maybe calling their parent. I will tell your mom today that you failed your test. You did not do. What's happening to you? This, that. Because you're no longer reading. No. Please, that should not happen. Okay, it is very important you pay attention to how they react, how they respond, what is happening to them, all right, during assessment. Okay, so you should pay attention to these things. I want you now to just imagine a child in your class. Just create a picture, mental picture in your head. Think of a student or a child or a learner in your class who became anxious or stressed because of test or exam. Can you imagine any child in your class that had that? Of course, as long as you're a teacher, you would have, in one occasion or the other, experienced that kind of thing. Okay, so I want you to just create a picture in your head, or find one child at one time that just became, anxious, or they just became fearful, all right, because of what? Assessment. Do you understand? So when this happened, what signs did you notice? What are the signs that you saw in the child? What signs did you see? Because there are signs that come with it. Many students carry anxiety that are triggered by assessment. I don't know if you know that. They carry anxiety, fear that is triggered by assessment. All right? You know that performance pressure can affect mental health, even for top flyers, even for your high flyers. All right? Your top achievers can be affected as a result of performance pressure. So assessment does not measure learning only. It shapes feelings, it builds confidence, it encourages engagement. And that is why you shouldn't just make the children feel that assessment, low grade in assessment is the end of their life. Because I mentioned earlier that assessment is not a final verdict. Assessment is a compass, is a direction, is a roadmap to where you're going to. Do you understand? It's a direction to learning, to the learning journey of your children. That's what assessment is. All right? It's a direction to what their expectations, the expectations of the academics. Is the roadmap to that expectation. So while trying to get to that destination of the academic journey, do not deter their personality. Because these things, by the time they build up to a particular point, you will see that the children's mental health or the child's mental health will be affected. You are not just doing assessment to measure learning, to just test how intelligent or how dullard that child is. No, you are also building feelings. You're also shaping the feelings of that child. You are also building confidence in that child. You are also helping the child to learn engagement during learning processes. They learn how to sit still. They learn how to listen. They learn how to pay attention. They build their feelings. All right? It shapes their feelings, encourages confidence, perseverance. These are things that assessments do, not just to measure how much mathematics you have put in their head. Do you understand? So this is why, as teachers, we need to be very careful with assessment. So the problem is that where we are coming from, we were taught that way, we were assessed that way, so we now feel that that is everything about assessment is all of that. Grade, all of that, 50 over 50, 100 over 100. If you don't make 100 over 100, you are gonna. So as you are the teacher in charge, you are the one that should direct your children. Because they see assessment as everything about me. If once they fail, that's why they will feel. So they will feel so terrible about themselves. But you have to correct that notion. Because that is not just what assessment is. All right. So having established that, I want to state the objectives of this webinar. All right. The objectives are to understand the link between assessment and student mental health. All right, there is a correlation. All right, they are related, and we are going to get to that as we progress in the process. Okay, so that's number one. It's also going to open our eye to identifying assessment practices that cause stress and anxiety, and to learn strategies to reduce negative mental health impacts. Learn strategies to reduce negative mental health impacts. There are strategies that we need to learn as teachers. Okay? There are strategies. And then to explore the ways to make assessment supportive and not harmful. There are ways a lot of teachers I see, that, like I even me that is a teacher too, I marvel, like, what is this? Is this what assessment should be? It shouldn't be that. Do you understand? You have to learn to make assessment supportive, not harmful to the children. All right? So, having established that, why assessment affects mental health? Why? Test can trigger fear. Do you know that? It can trigger fear, it can trigger stress, it can trigger pressure. Yes. Test, assessment, exam, whatever you call it, it can trigger even homework. The one you give them, they will take to their houses, right? They trigger fear, stress, pressure. All right? You see how they are related to mental health. And if that test or that assessment has to do with, an assessment that is one of high stakes, an assessment that a lot is expected from the child, say an external exam, WAEC, checkpoint, all of that, IGCSE, and all of those, all right, A-level assessment and the rest of them, you see that that's when you see what stress and pressure, do to mental health. Fear of failure can lead to anxiety. It can lead to low self-esteem. It can lead to avoidance. It can cause poor performance, generally speaking. Okay, so fear of failure can lead to anxiety. It can lead to low self-esteem. It can lead to avoidance. Some students internalize poor performance, all right, believing they are not smart enough. So, they fear that I'm going to fail, I cannot do well, I'm not good enough, and all of those things will make the child to just become so small. So fear of failure can lead to what? It can lead to anxiety. It can lead to low self-esteem. It can lead to withdrawal. It can lead to silence. And these are the things that affect children's mental health. And we are supposed to pay attention to them. Okay? Now, if you have a student that a learner who struggles with reading, or say mathematics, the almighty mathematics, right? You have a child that struggles with mathematics, and then here comes the day of mathematics test. You will see the child will form ill. The child will become, some of them will go as far as looking for lies to tell, just to be away, to run away from that test. If you have a child, for example, that struggles with English language, or rather reading, reading is a major problem in our academic system. If you have a child that struggles with reading, that child will dread English test so much that you cannot even, you a teacher, you will wonder why. You will be afraid for the child. You'll be afraid on behalf of the child because of the way they will act. All right? They will form ill. They will become physically sick before the day of the exam because of the fear of that reading. Because they know when the question is given, I am going to read it. And maybe you are the kind of teacher that say, don't call me, read it by yourself. I don't want to hear. You don't know how to read. This one. Everybody can read your question. Everybody read your question and answer it. No help. You don't give any help. That child, before the day of your exam or test, the child will become sick. Physically sick. You see how assessment can make impact on learners' mental health. I don't know if you get it. So this is why it is very important that we take anything we are doing with the children, once it has to do with assessment, very, we need to pay attention to them so well. Okay, because for children, grades they are neutral. They communicate success or failure to the children. It communicates success or failure to them emotionally. They will feel so, they will become sick instantly once you give them their test script. Even you adults, you are an adult, you know how you feel when you when you go for a particular exam. Some of us are still going to school. All right, you just get your script rather, and then there is a low grade. How will you feel? a low score, it passes a message to you emotionally. Talk more of the children. So that is why we need to pay attention to assessment. And assessment has positive and negative practices. They have positive and negative practices. Now, the negative practices I want to talk about first is that surprising students with tests is not ideal. All this, tear out a sheet of paper, it is time for test, exam has started. No. I'm going to this test, after I mark this test, I'm going to add it to your grades for the term. You know, those kind of things. All those surprising tests that you give your children, no, they are negative practices. And also you have over-reliance on high-stakes exams. Always depending on high-stakes exams. That is why formative assessment is very important. It shouldn't be summative all the way. For me, I would recommend to the education system that formative assessment takes 75% of our overall grade. Summative assessment, because that is where you actually see who the child is. Truly, that's where the individual comes out. Because most of the time, the high stakes exams will make you to become who you are not, because you are tensed, you are pressured, you are surprised, you are fearful, and all of those things put together. Do you understand? So we should do away with it. And publicly ranking students, comparing them with one another, those are negative practices, and teachers should not practice it. We should not practice that. What are the positive practices? Explain purpose and expectations clearly. Let the aim of the assessment be explained to the learners. Let them understand what you expect of them, what you want them to do. All right? Make it clear. If it's test, if it's homework, if it's classwork, if it's exam, whatever it is that you're giving to them, is it project, is it science, whatever, creative writing, competition, whatever it is you're giving to them, as long as it will be accumulated in their overall grades, especially, you have to I'm not saying the other ones you shouldn't explain, let them know the expectations, but these ones you have to pay attention to them. Give them expectations. Let them know what you expect from them at the end of the day. Let them know what is coming for them. Let them know the reason for this test, for this assessment. Explain it. Why are we doing it? What are we going to benefit from it? These are things you do as a result of this assessment. These are positive practices. So I said you should explain your expectations clearly. Make it known. Let them know the direction. When children know the direction, when they know where they are going to, it is easy for them to follow rules. It is easy for them to be productive. It is easy for them to perform well. It also reduces pressure. There's no pressure because we know where we are going to. But when you don't know where you're going to, you don't know what is expected of you, you'll be lost, you'll be agitated, you'll be so fearful because you don't know what is coming for you. And include low stakes formative assessment also. And that was why I mentioned earlier that I would recommend 75% of our assessment, overall assessment, to be formative. All right? I know there are some schools that have adopted that. They do a lot of formative assessment, and they are all aggregated into their overall grade at the end of the day. And also provide feedback that emphasizes growth and effort. Do you understand? Don't just say good. Don't just say well done. You have to state what the well done is for. What did they do? What made them to deserve the well done? Okay, explain it. When students thrive, okay, students thrive when assessment feels, it feels fair, when they feel supported. When assessment is informative, they strive. You see them, they thrive, they do well, they perform well. All right, so let them know the purpose of the assessment, support them, give them information that will make them understand what they are supposed to do. Don't threaten them. When you threaten the children, it makes them to lose their confidence. It brings fear, and that is what affects their mental health. If students must thrive in their test, you have to make it to feel fair. You have to make it to feel supportive. You have to make it to feel, to be informative. Let them know, let it be informative. Okay? Let the assessment be informative. Don't make it look like it's the end of their life. All right? Don't make it look like is it the Fourth World War now? So that, as in, you understand what I'm trying to explain, right? Don't threaten them. If you fail it, you are going to remain, you are not going to go to the next class, and all of those things that teachers say to the children. Please, because those are the things that affect their mental health. Assessment and anxiety are related. So what do they trigger? They trigger withdrawal, they trigger silence, they trigger avoidance, they trigger perfectionism. All right? You will now see a child who is working so hard to become a perfectionist, want to do it well, overworking. Let me know when there's a way you explain that the drawing, when they are drawing the skeleton, you threaten them with the drawing of the skeleton, that they will keep drawing and drawing. They will draw and clean. At the end of the day, they will tear their booklets because of the way you presented it. But when you make it fair, when you make it informative, when you make them understand that the reason is not for them to be perfect, but for them to achieve a certain objective, then it will motivate them to do better. All right? Assessment can also trigger procrastination. All right? Remember, anxiety reduces working memory. When there is anxiety, you will not think anymore. Like, I don't know if you have experienced that. Of course, even if you have not experienced it, you have heard it. Somebody is writing because of tension in exam hall. Please spell is. You are saying is, and you are asking somebody to spell it. You are even spelling, you are pronouncing, you are still asking someone else to help you do that. Do you understand? That is what anxiety does. And these are some of the things that teachers, impose on the children. You inflict their mental health with some of these things. So if when anxiety comes, it now makes the child to become so little, because they are confused, they don't know what to do. All right? And when anxiety comes, the working memory is no longer functioning. All right? No problem solving ability anymore. They are now relying on effort. They are making effort, and then that will now lead to what? To poor performance or low grades. So your expectation from them too shouldn't be so high. It should be at the level. These are things that we should pay attention to. Your expectation shouldn't be so high that the children are confused. They don't know what you want from them. They are, your expectation should be at the level of your children. Make sure you set expectations that are at par with the level of the learners in your class. Now, I want to state something here. That you taught a particular class this year, say year 2 class. All right? And then in the next session, they also put you in year 2. Let it not make you to set your assessment, because that's what we do. We will now jam pack all the assessment that we did in the previous term, because we taught year 2 last term or last session. Then this session you are also in year 2. You now just catapult you now catapult the entire assessment into the assessment of this new set of children. But you will forget the fact that the children that are in your class this session are not the same children in the class with you last session. They are different in understanding, in reading ability, in memorization, in cognitive ability, in expression, in confidence, in everything that you can talk about. So that is why you shouldn't import everything and just send it without. I'm not saying you shouldn't reuse your assessment. Reusing your assessment is good, but what I'm saying is that it shouldn't be verbatim, because you must have looked at the level of the children in your class now, and also remember that even the wordings you use, right, are very important. That is why you have to look at the abilities of the children. The children in your former class might be very intelligent children. Now let me give you a scenario. I had a set of children sometime that those children were so good in mathematics. What? Oh, but when it comes to English, oh my goodness gracious, I cannot explain it. I don't know if you understand. I cannot explain it. They were so wonderful. That's the right word to use. But fantastic with math. Those set of children, fantastic with math. So now, if I am not that proactive and I just, upload everything from previous class and just give it to these other children, I will have failures everywhere. You see, these are also reasons why when they say assessment is not a true test of knowledge, that's a very correct statement. And some of these things most of them come from teachers. Those children that they were good in math, but they don't understand, and English we were struggling. I was making effort to bring them at the same level with mathematics. Where they are at mathematics, I mean to say now, right? Do you understand? So in the assessment, I'm not going to use the very ambiguous words. Do you get? I'm going to come to their level. The format of the feedback I want from them will not be the same thing with the next class that maybe would be a very amazing English set of children. Those ones that even when you're speaking, that you're using big words, any big word they hear from you, they just pick it. Any vocabulary they hear you speak, they just take it and begin to use it to converse with their mates. I have had a child that is 3. The child picks words from me. So there are children that are very good at that. So when you happen to, because these things happen, you might just find yourself in a class where all the children are just very good with vocabulary. They are very good with English. They are very good with just words. Anything that has to do with words, spelling, name it. The competition is so hard. When you're setting assessment, you should also look at that. Do you understand? You should also consider those things as a teacher when you're setting assessment. So this is what will now bring poor performance in your exam, and you're wondering, it is your fault as the teacher because you did not take into cognizance the things that you should prioritize while setting your assessment. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to explain. So these are some of the things teachers should pay attention to. Assessment can either enhance learning, or it can reduce the confidence of your children. It can build confidence, it can deter it. So it can enhance learning, it can build confidence, it can increase fear, it can bring disengagement, depending on the way you use it. So that is why how is important in assessment. How do you use assessment? How? The how is very key. All right. So if you understand this as a teacher, it will help you to know how to work with your children. When a child makes a low grade, you don't say, your score is very poor. Why are you behaving like this? What happened to you? Why did you not do well? Why is it that you're not behaving like Aisha? Why is it that you... And all of those things that teachers say. Aisha made a very good grade and your score is so low. Is she not your friend? Are you not learning from her? Or why is your letters up and down the line? No. Call the child. 1 or 2 letters might be correct or properly written. Start from there. Because that's what assessment, if the assessment you're giving to your children, the feedback of the assessment, I mean to say now, is not encouraging the child, is not encouraging growth and effort, then you have lost it. So bring it and say, wow, Prosper, this is so good. I can see your why is properly written today. You wrote it very well. I'm so proud of you. So your B, what do you think about your B? The child will look at it. You not write it well. It's supposed to be like this and that. Okay, so what are we going to do next time? You interact with the child. You build their confidence. You give them the platform to grow. Do you understand? So that's what this is about. If you keep doing this, your children are going to do well in assessment and generally in everything, because you are not just building or raising children that will just pass exam and go. You are raising children that will interact with the wider world. You are raising children that you want to be confident enough to talk to people out there. You are raising children that you want to understand how to engage in conversation with people wisely. You are raising, and you build or deter this when you use your assessment wrongly. Do you understand? And I keep telling teachers, if your assessment is not addressing this particular issue, then there's a problem. Now, how can feedback reduce stress and boost learning? How? What small changes could you make or would you make as a teacher in your assessment, or to make it more supportive? This is a question for you. You can ponder over it. All right. How can feedback reduce stress and boost learning? Because your feedback must encourage growth and effort. And learning must take, once this is done, learning will definitely take place. So what are the small changes you can make in your assessment based on what we have talked so far? Now remember that assessment is a tool. Okay, assessment is a tool, not just is a teaching tool. It's not a judgmental tool. It's not a tool for condemnation. When you are marking, I knew it that you will not do well today. I knew it. You're always writing nonsense. You're always not performing well. You have not even finished marking the child's script. You're already, using negative words on the child. Assessment is just a teaching tool. It is not a condemnation tool. It is not a death sentence tool. It is not a judgmental tool. It is used to deliver learning, make the child to grow. Assessment should encourage learning in your class. The way it is delivered shapes learning and emotional health. That is why we said assessment and mental health are together. Because once that assessment is there, positive or negative, the individual in question must be affected. mentally. Because I said that assessment is not just, it's not neutral to children. It communicates success or failure to them. It communicates success or failure to them. So you need to know how to do it. When, how, I, mental health. What are the kinds of assessment or the kind of assessment that support mental health? The assessment that the expectations are understood. The children know what they are supposed to do, not the one that will look like something that came out from the blues. The children must know what to do. They must know what to expect. The expectations must be clear to them. That is the kind of assessment that will support your children's mental health. If you state the aim of the objective and let your expectation not be very high, okay, let it not be so gigantic that the children are confused. Bring it down to their level. Know the kind of children, the kind of learners under your care. Don't say this is the question I asked the people of last year and they got it correctly. And that's why you see the reason. This is also why people write WAEC and fail, because WAEC will reuse the exam questions, right, that they asked this set of students last year, and the students of this year and those of last year are not the same. But then it will be said that they don't know the learning abilities of the children that are coming to write the exams. But there are ways that this information can be, or this data can be collected to help WAEC set the appropriate questions for each set of children or students. So what are the assessments that support mental health? Avoid surprise or overly high stakes exams or tests. All the time your tests are, my children know that I don't give anyhow test. It is, you're not going to win a trophy for doing that. So please calm down. Bring it to their level. Emphasize growth and effort, not just marks. Let them know that it is not about the grades. It is not about the marks. It is about whether they are making improvement. Are they doing well? Is something changing in them? That is what makes assessment. All right? It is not just the grade that they get. When they get 0 and you tell the class, all the other children to shame them, you have practically told them that if somebody did not get any mark or a reasonable mark, that they are losers. That's why you would ask other children to shame them. So you have destroyed the personality of that child. And you would say, is it just this one that I said that will not make the child not their personality will be destroyed? Yes. It doesn't take all the negative words in the world. Just one word is enough to destroy somebody's personality, destroy their emotion, completely destroy their feelings. Do you understand? So that is why you need to be very careful with it. Your expectations shouldn't be so high. It should be at their level. It should be communicated to them. Let them understand it. Communicate and let them understand what you want from them. Avoid surprises or all these high expectation exams and tests. All right? And then emphasize on the growth. Don't make them look like it's just the mark that you're concerned about. Also encourage their improvement and growth. What they have done better this term, what they have done better this week, what they have done well in this particular test or in this particular subject. And frequent small checks reduce fear. I have a particular story. So I went for a training. It's an on-site training. So I was to train a set of teachers. So as I was educating them, we came across this assessment, and it was like a very the talk was so long. We talked about it for a very long time. We dragged it. They were asking me series of questions about assessments, and I narrowed it to them. A particular teacher asked me, she painted a scenario. I think she is a high school teacher. So she said, when I was talking about assessing children, checking them when they are writing exams and all of that, she now said that, what if the other children feel cheated or something? I told her that to start with, my children will not feel cheated that I'm assisting another child. Besides, the assistance is not writing for the child. It's just checking in to know what the child is doing. If the child is stuck somewhere, do they want me to help them read a particular sentence? Do they want further explanation? She now said that further explanation is the problem. That how will I now give further explanation? I said further explanation is allowed. It's a normal thing. So you can also make it clear to them that if anybody needs help, they want further explanation. Yes, even in high stakes exams, you explain something if somebody is confused, like anywhere, anytime. So I told her that I would have, at this point, before it gets to that time, I must have explained to my children or make them understand the place of help, the place of assistance, that even them themselves, they can render such help to their classmates. So when you must have, cleared this ground, your children will not feel bad that you're helping another child. Like, help, I mean here, is not to write for the child, but to like check in whether the child is stuck anywhere. Do they need help anywhere? Is there something you can help them with? All right, so that's just it. And it's not just the children that are struggling, or our children that are will I say incapacitated, or children that need help. All right, special needs children. No, every child in the class should get help. Of course, if they say they don't need the help, of course you can let them be, but just check in with them. It's just, there's this, it calms them down. It makes the person feel that, okay, I'm not alone in this. Do you understand? And allow them alternatives, choices. Let them make choices for themselves. Don't narrow your questions. Most of your questions, actually, don't make it look like it's a certain way that the question must be answered. Okay? Except maybe something like mathematics. Even mathematics, you have 3-4 methods, that you can arrive at a certain answer. So give them alternatives. Give them choices. Let them have options. All right? Assessment can motivate or demoralize. So thoughtful design will now protect the mental health of your learners and strengthen learning. All right? Thoughtful design. You have to think of it. I gave an instance. Don't take what you gave last term to give last session or last term, into another children for the same term. No, it's not proper. You have to be thoughtful about it. Look at it very well, because once it's not properly done, their mental health is at stake, and it will not encourage learning. It will weaken learning. So if you want learning to be strengthened in your class, you have to pay attention to these things, these points that I'm mentioning. All right? All these points that I'm mentioning, they are very important for you to pay attention to them. Because whatever you do with assessment can either destroy the children or make them. Do you understand? So teachers should pay attention to assessment. It is very important. You pay attention to assessment. Okay, so as we wrap up this session, because it's supposed to be an hour session, right? So as we wrap up, I want you to, this is an assignment, right, that I want to give you to go do. This is what I want you to do, to just check your recent assessment, maybe the one you have already set for the term, or yes, the ones you've already said that you have not administered. Before you administer them now, please check them again. Are there any elements or are there elements that can cause anxiety in your assessment? And then identify elements that support learning and confidence. Identify, look at that your assessment, and with the things I've explained or I've said in this live session, you should be able to, when you look at your assessment, you should be able to identify these things. Are there things that elements that could cause anxiety? All right. Are there elements that support learning and confidence? And then if you discover them, you can take it to either your friend or a colleague of yours and have a discussion with the person. You people should look at it and just interact. All right. This will help you to build a standard. It will help you to build a standard as a teacher. All right. So just have a conversation with somebody about it, and you people should it's not something that should take a long time. You can do it maybe in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or maybe when you go out for recess, right? You are with your children outside during recess. You just interact with the person. Other teachers can even come in, and that time that you people will now used to, those conversation time that used to gist about your salary increments and all of the things that are not going well in your school. You can use that time to interact and talk about these things, because they actually help so much in making sure that we have children that their mental health is not affected as a result of the kind of assessment that we give them. All right, because your assessment, even minor adjustments like timing, all right, either increase or decrease, the wording, the kind of words you use, like I mentioned earlier, the format can significantly reduce student anxiety. So you need to look at them again. All right, you need to really look at them. The timing, the format, the wording. All right, they are very important. Remember, I said when I started earlier, I said that's the timing of your assessment. That even your formative assessment, which is an ongoing one, has a timeline. There should be a timeline for it. You don't just give it because they said it's an ongoing assessment or assessment that you administer while the lesson is going on. All right. So these are things that we should put into consideration as teachers. All right. So I want you to this is like a take home for you, right? Just think of one formative assessment component. It could be quiz, it could be project, it could be group work, it could be discussion, it could be self-assessment. Self-assessment, you can even do it with their folders, their files in class, their portfolio, right? You can just pick their portfolio, ask them to just go through their portfolio on their own and just assess themselves. That's self-assessment, right? It could be their exercise book in the class and all of those things. Okay, so that's all of that's so I want you to pick one topic, okay, or one topic from any subject of your choice, and add one formative component to it, formative assessment component, I mean to say. So I mentioned is either quiz or project or self-assessment or group work, discussion. Just add it, right? And then provide feedback that emphasizes effort and not correction, because that's what we do. You have to think of, I want you to think as you're adding it, process it in your head. This is an assessment, or rather an assignment I'm giving you. I've given you, and the other one I said you should do with your colleagues and just discuss with them. Then this one is the one I want you to do yourself, personally, alone. All right, so think of a particular topic, get the formative assessment component of it, and then provide feedback that emphasizes effort and not correction. All right, so then when this is done, after administering it, you should find out how the children responded to it emotionally and academically. So when you do this, you administer it, right? This is not the one you're discussing with your friends. Do it, administer it, and then, you know, let your children, you know, give their feedback, like their responses, how they felt when they were doing it, or after they did it, and or in the process. All right. And then academically, what is the feedback you got from them? All right. I want you to do this. If you do this, you're going to actually help yourself as a teacher to improve a lot better. Okay. Remember that assessment shapes minds and what? Heart. Done thoughtfully. The assessment that is done thoughtfully, the assessment that is designed thoughtfully, it builds confidence. If it's done carelessly, it destroys the child. It breeds fear. It breeds anxiety. And these are the things that affect children's mental health. Okay, so we have come to the end of this live webinar. I also want to apologize once again for the short delay we had. Okay, we are supposed to start this class at 3, and I promise us that subsequently we are going to stick to the time. I will make sure that this kind of issue don't come up again. All right, and thank you so much for being a part of it. Please invite your colleagues, your friends. We are going to be sharing amazing topics from time to time in this series. Okay, we are going to be sharing amazing, you know, topics from time to time. The Teacher Toolbox series. Okay, after this session, please click the comment section. All right, you will see a link to the Educator's Edge. It's an ebook that I designed specifically for you as a teacher. You can have it. Okay, it's free. I'm not charging you for anything. Just enjoy it. All right, I will see you next week, Saturday by 3 p.m. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.